I am on hormone replacement therapy. I am so grateful for my hormones. It is not a straight shot up the mountain, ladies, if that's something that you are in a season of exploring. This is not a podcast about HRT. HRT is really helpful. And we do women a disservice when we imply that all you need to do is take some HRT and poof, it's all gone. No, because what we do is we're missing this conversation that we're having right here, right now. We're missing what Dr. Mindy talks about in Age Like a Girl. We're missing it. And we're missing the initiation and the calling into something different and something new. And we do need to take radical responsibility for finding ways to meet our needs now that hormones are checking out. Welcome back to the Daily Surrender. This week, I am going to be diving in with you into some of the science behind the hormonal shifts that are occurring for us in midlife. I think it's really important for us to know some of the why. I will touch on some of the neuroscience. We're going to talk about some nervous system truths. Absolutely, we will be touching on surrender and identity dissolution in this season of life. And for any of you who are on the other end and you're starting to feel like you are losing tolerance for life as it once was for you, buckle up. This episode is for you. You will not feel alone in that by the end of this episode. My goal is for you to feel so seen, so normalized, and to know that you're not wrong, you're not broken because things are shifting inside of you. I am coming off of a month of having house guests. Those house guests also do include my college age children who've also come home, but we've had a lot of family coming and visiting. And I love that. I love having a full home. I love serving people. I love being with people I love. And I'm going to be totally honest and transparent with you. In this midlife season, for me, I crave simplicity, quiet, alone time. I feel almost allergic to chaos and clutter. And I raised 3 kids. I had 3 kids under 4. So my life was a lot of chaos and clutter for many, many years. And I just can't do what I used to do. So we're going to be touching on all of the reasons why in this podcast episode. For those of you who might be new to the podcast, a little bit of background on me. I have been coaching women for almost 15 years through a functional medicine lens, naturopathy, holistic medicine, holistic nutrition. I have been someone who has been seeking root cause drivers of whatever it is we see, the symptoms that we see, the symptoms of dis-ease for a very long time. So I'm very well versed on the impacts of hormones on our neurotransmitters, whether a woman is in her younger, more fertile years, or her hormones are starting to decline in the perimenopausal years. And the perimenopausal years, for those of you who don't know, start a solid 10 years before menopause knocks at the door. And that's been my experience. I'm 50 and a half. And my cycles just started completely teetering out in the last 6 months for me. But perimenopause definitely started in my late 30s to early 40s, where I started to really feel the symptoms. And that was a season of my life where I was still on. I was running my practice. I also had other little side hustle jobs, and I was a chauffeur. I felt like that was my part-time job, driving kids all over, juggling all of their schedules. My life was really, really full, and my hormones were also starting to decline, and it was challenging for me. It was definitely challenging. Over this Christmas break, one of the books that I read was Age Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Peltz. I will link her book here in the show notes. If my podcast were big enough, I would have Dr. Mindy having this conversation with you here today. I love her. Someday, right? I'll put that on my vision board to have Dr. Mindy because she is a kindred spirit. I love what she is doing in the world. She combines beautifully the neuroscience of what's happening in our bodies in midlife alongside the mystical, the psychological, spiritual. I felt so seen when I read her book. I felt very, very, very seen. None of it was a shock to me because of my lived experience alongside of what I do helping other women get through the season of life. But Dr. Mindy really helped me to lock it in with the biological reasons why I need alone time. I thrive when I have alone time. I get overstimulated very easily. Where in my younger years, I don't even know if I knew what overstimulation was. I'm pretty sure my entire life was overly stimulated. So, when I read her book, which again, I highly recommend to any of you who are listening to this, if you want a deeper dive into all of it, she really, really reinforced what I know to be so true. There are a lot of physical foundations that are very important to have locked in place as we age, at any age, honestly, at any age. I mean, the younger we can lock in physical foundations, functional foundations, not just physical, which include nervous system support, which include getting to know yourself and being true to who you are and learning how to not people please, the healthier and happier you're going to live your life. My experience was I had to fumble through my 20s and my 30s to be able to really find answers. And that's why I do what I do, because anytime that I would find something that would work for me, I wanted to share it with people. I wanted to give other people hope in being able to find answers that they don't have to suffer. There's this relief for us as women when we feel the science validating our experience. And again, there's a lot of science, and Dr. Mindy is just one of the people out there who spells it out really easily for us women in midlife to get through and read, because sometimes even education and knowledge can be overwhelming and overstimulating. But I'm going to touch on that here for you today in this podcast because I want you to feel seen and I want you to understand that you are not alone and you are not going crazy. Midlife is not a season of loss. I promise you that. It can feel like that because we've only really ever known our hormones to be robust. I even had a little bit of mourning, as crazy as that sounds, when my cycle stopped. And mine stopped very abruptly. It was very regular until it wasn't. And then the next month and the next month and the next month. I'm about 6 months in right now. And I'm like, "Oh, oh, this is what's happening." I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not missing having my period, but there's a little bit of sadness there because that was an identity that I had since I was 13 years old. I got to be part of the club of women commiserating, mutually commiserating over having their period. And now, no, no longer. I'm not part of that club. There's a lot of things that occur for us at this season of life. If I didn't have girlfriends who are going through it with me to mutually commiserate and for us to remind each other that we're not alone, we're not going crazy, take the space you need. I'm a safe space for you to vent or to get stuff up and out. And I really would have lost my mind. But this season, when we look at this season for what it is, even though sometimes it can feel like loss or really, really hard, it is biological wisdom activating. And that my friends, is so beautiful and really, really, really exciting. It's so exciting. We are being initiated, and our society, I don't think, does as good of a job as it used to in revering women who are postmenopausal the way that they used to. They used to be so much more integrated into our society. And unfortunately, in today's day and age where we are so separated and we rely on technology to connect us, and we don't spend as much time in conversation and storytelling circles and relationships with older women. Those older women have gotten boxed out, and they shouldn't, because they carry so much wisdom. There's wisdom, and there's a biological wisdom that is coming on board as hormones check out. So, in this episode, if you are a woman who is feeling more sensitive, maybe more sensitive than ever before, and that could be sensitive in the vein that you cry more easily, or you can't tolerate things that you used to tolerate, or you feel more irritable, you're not alone. If you're in a season where you're discerning more, you really are spending more time introspecting, because discernment is everything. Not everybody and everything can come with you. Maybe, like me, you feel allergic to chaos and you're wondering, is something wrong with me? Hang on. We're going to talk about it. I want you to know right away that there is nothing, nothing, nothing wrong with you. Nothing. All right. Let's talk about what is happening to our hormones. I'm going to try and keep this really clear for you and just very simple, not overwhelming. There are plenty of places out there and people that can help you deeper dive if you like to geek out on all of that. There's a really good book called Estrogen Matters that's very good. I'll link a couple of my favorite resources for you in the show notes, but let's talk about it so that you can have an idea of why you're not actually going crazy. So, estrogen is starting to decline. And as I said earlier, perimenopause starts 10 to 15 years before we actually go through menopause itself. And menopause is defined as one whole year without your cycle. And then you're officially in the club of menopause. I'm not even officially in the club. And I've had a little bit of spotting too. So every time that happens, I start over. But I'm right about on that brink. But like I said, I've been feeling the declining hormones for a very, very long time. So let's talk about the impacts on our neurotransmitters as estrogen is checking out. So we've got serotonin. So serotonin helps support our mood. It helps support our optimism and our emotional resilience. When we have robust amount of serotonin on board, we feel really good. We're happy. Again, we're emotionally resilient. Serotonin also is a precursor to making melatonin, which is the hormone that helps us to fall and stay asleep. So a lot of women, as estrogen is declining, are also sleeping less or waking up in the middle of the night. And we all know that if we are sleep deprived, we are cranky. We are as cranky as a toddler who needs a nap. Then we've got dopamine. So dopamine is responsible for our motivation. So sometimes as dopamine is checking out because of estrogen in the season of life, we may feel more apathetic, less motivated. We're like, where's my motivation to do and achieve and get shit done? Right? I know that I have gotten very frustrated at times with my declining dopamine. I can't get it in the way that I used to. And we have to actually be really careful because we start seeking it from really, really cheap dopamine hits, like scrolling on our phone. And then our soul is like, oh, please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. That feels horrible, right? Dopamine's responsible for our tolerance to anything challenging, friction, abrasion in life. That might be why if your kids start fighting, like within 30 seconds, you're like, yeah, you're going to lose it. Your husband could be chewing his food really loud, and he's chewed his food really loud for 25 years. And all of a sudden, you cannot be near him. And it sounds like he's chewing in your ear on purpose. Hello, decrease in dopamine. Oxytocin. So estrogen really impacts our oxytocin. Oxytocin is responsible for our social bonding, our desire for connection. And as oxytocin is going down, we might feel like isolating ourselves more. Like, I don't even know how to socialize. I'm really struggling to connect with people. And that we're going to talk about more in this episode too, on how we can support those things in our lifestyle and in healthful ways, because we still need these neurotransmitters, but we have to get them in other ways. The old ways are not going to work. So again, if you're feeling like, yeah, I kind of like to socially isolate. All right, you're normal. It's not abnormal. I've been whew, my behind the scenes. I mean, it might look like I'm such an extroverted person because I hop on social media and I have a podcast and I coach other people. But my behind the scenes, especially in the last 5 years, has really been a lot of social withdrawing and taking a look at who I do want in my life. What kinds of people do I want to spend time with? But I really have lost tolerance for very surface level, vapid conversations. I just don't have tolerance for it or energy. GABA is also related to estrogen. So as estrogen is declining, so is GABA. GABA is responsible for us feeling very calm. When we have good amounts of GABA, we can tolerate a lot more stimulation, a lot more noise. We have an ability to let things slide. So as estrogen's declining, you might feel the opposite of all of those things, right? And then we have progesterone. And progesterone, by the way, starts to decline before estrogen. So progesterone decline is going to start to affect our nervous system a lot. Our sleep quality. Progesterone is needed for us to fall asleep. Our stress resilience. Women will start to feel more irritable, more anxious, more tense, more tight. Progesterone is very, very calming. Very, very calming. So when estrogen and progesterone are declining, your nervous system no longer has that chemical buffer that it once did. So chaos feels a lot louder to you. Noise, oh, noise feels so much sharper, like nails on a chalkboard. Small talk starts to feel incredibly exhausting. And in this season of life, as our sex hormones are declining, our soul starts to speak louder and louder and louder and say, no more, no more. We can't do this. And it's all okay. It's also really good. Again, biological wisdom. You are being initiated into a new season of life. So, craving, you might notice that your cravings are changing. And I'm not talking about cravings for chocolate. I'm talking, that might happen too, but I'm talking about your craving for alone time, your craving for quiet, like no stimulation, no noise, no television, nothing. Maybe some birds. I like my birds. Craving for nature. All of this is driven from biological wisdom in the body. As I shared with you, I've had a month of house guests and I disappear. And I oftentimes will look at my young adult children. I don't think my son is clued into any of it, but my girls, they're very sensitive. They read energy. They are my daughters. And they're like, Mom, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong. But right now, my tank is really empty. And we might have just had a really fun family dinner and played a game together. And that's great. That fills my heart, right? But we may also have been talking and socializing for hours. There's more stimulation, there's more chaos as there's more people and there's more clutter, right? All of those things that we become more and more sensitive to. And I just need to retreat. I have a couple things in place that are life saving for me. My bathtub, I spend a lot of time in the bathtub. And over the past month, I've gotten pretty wrinkly going in the bath. I've even taken baths twice a day, or I go on a lot of walks. Walks for me are imperative to calming and regulating my nervous system. So, where estrogen once allowed us women to override our nervous system, as it's declining, that override disappears. We're losing the ability to override, ladies. Our brain is now prioritizing things like order, simplicity, predictability, restorative solitude. It is a biological need for us to have those things. We don't have Miss Estrogen on board really robustly. And I'll just throw in as a little tiny caveat, I am a fan of hormone replacement therapy. I am on hormone replacement therapy. I am so grateful for my hormones. I'm so grateful for the doctor who has patiently worked through all the different delivery systems for me to figure out what works best for my body. It is not a straight shot up the mountain, ladies, if that's something that you are in a season of exploring. This is not a podcast about HRT. HRT is really helpful. And we do women a disservice when we imply that all you need to do is take some HRT and poof, it's all gone. No, because what we do is we're missing this conversation that we're having right here, right now. We're missing what Dr. Mindy talks about in Age Like a Girl. We're missing it. And we're missing the initiation and the calling into something different and something new. And we do need to take radical responsibility for finding ways to meet our needs now that hormones are checking out. It's self-regulation to do this, right? It's not avoiding living life. It's not running away from your people. If you find that you're doing that, there's some more stuff for you to unpack there. Alone time in midlife is recalibration. It's how we recalibrate ourselves. And it's really important. So, what are some ways that we can support our neurochemistry without the hustle and the grind and the force? Last week's episode talked about surrender as grace enabled release, not forcing it. So, ladies, listen up. This is a gentle, soft invitation. And I'm going to share some ways that you can support these different neurotransmitters that are shifting and changing in midlife that are calling you into a different season. But please do not make a list and make yourself feel like you need to do every single thing every single day or you're failing. Please. There is no perfect in any of this, but even bringing on one thing in each category can be really helpful to you. So GABA, or calm, right? One of the supplements that I used to use a lot with women was called GABA Calm. And it's just this little lozenge that you can suck on when you're really feeling low in GABA and you're feeling really tense and tight. And it could bring some relief for my ladies. And let me tell you, there is nothing that replaces what I'm about to share with you found in a bottle. Nothing. If you're relying on a supplement to do for you what only you can do for you, you're misusing the supplement, right? Supplements, just like anything external, it's just there to help you maybe get through a really bumpy day or a really bumpy season. So walking in nature, research has shown that walking in nature for 90 minutes is a complete wash, like bathing ourselves in GABA. But even a 30-minute walk, if you can't even do 30, do 5. Meet yourself where you are, but that supports our production of GABA. Warm baths, warm, soothing baths. Something has shifted in me. I am like a child again. You know how little children love to take a bath before bed, and it becomes part of their quiet, wind down, soothing bedtime ritual? I almost never take a shower. I will take a bath in the morning and midday and in the evening, depending on when I take a bath that day. But there is something so calming for me about a warm bath. Throw in Epsom salts for a little extra magnesium and your calming mineral, and you're really winning. And maybe some essential oils like lavender. Slow breathing. So many of us up until now were shallow breathers, or we were breathing too quickly. We didn't even bring any mindfulness to your breath. But slow breathing can support GABA and bring calm very, very quickly into the body. You know that I like my 4-4-7 breathing. Red light therapy has been clinically shown to help the production of GABA. I personally sit in front of my red light panel every single morning when I have my quiet time with my tea, when I'm praying and meditating. And I've been doing that for years. And bonus, it's really great for collagen production too. Gentle stretching. So, any type of stretching movements is going to help produce GABA. Again, you don't need to do all of those things, but we want to be mindful about incorporating different ways to get what we don't have on board robustly. Dopamine. So, again, dopamine, our joy and our motivation, we can get dopamine healthfully, not from scrolling or drinking alcohol, or shopping, or any of the multitude of ways that we get dopamine in today's society, but morning sunlight. So, morning sunlight in your eyes that also supports your circadian rhythm, which will help support your sleep, but it's helping support your mood. Win win, combined it with a walk. Morning sunshine. This is God's natural medicine designed for us to thrive, and it's free. Creative expression. Research supports women in midlife and older in the menopausal years when we learn new things, when we're tapping into our creativity, and this can be arranging flowers in a vase. We get a natural dopamine boost. It can be buying an adult coloring book, taking a class at a local community center, anything that helps you to tap into your creative self. It's really important and it's imperative for you to thrive in your life moving forward. You have more time. It's an illusion if we think we don't, because most of us were raising children in the younger years. And yes, they might come back as young adults and all of that, but, or maybe you've got a couple still at home, but you can step away. You don't have babies and infants at this stage of your life. Purposeful work is really important. And we're not just talking about busy work. It doesn't have to be your career. It doesn't mean that you need to go out and get a brand new career that really feels aligned with your purpose. Some women do at this stage of life step away from careers that really feel like they were soul sucking to go do something that lights them up. That's amazing. I'm definitely someone who's always following that in me and following my purpose, but we can volunteer. We can start to activate our purpose even in the grocery store, right? Paying more attention to people, connecting with people, but finding ways to use our purpose and have purposeful work in our everyday lives is so important for dopamine. And again, menopausal years. Supporting oxytocin. So, oxytocin helps create that safe connection. So, midlife, menopausal years, it's not a season where women typically want to have like 25 friends. We will have fewer relationships, but they will be deeper. We crave deeper. We need deeper. So maybe you have just one right now. Celebrate that. Make sure you spend time with her. If you're craving a spiritual friendship, I did a podcast a few months ago with one of my spiritual besties and how to cultivate it and how to find that. Go back and listen to that episode. Meet people, go out into the community, start to hang out in places where like minded women may be, and be open to who God brings into your life. Meaningful conversation is so important for us in this season of life. Telling our stories, listening to one another. Again, surface, vapid chit chat, we can't do it. It's not going to support your oxytocin. It's going to just make you want to stay in your cape forever. Safe touch, hugs, right? Holding hands. But again, that has to be with someone who's really a trusted companion, a trusted friend. Laughter. Oh, laughter boosts oxytocin. But laughing without needing to perform, like just being able to be yourself, completely be yourself, authentically be yourself, and then just laugh. That's the best oxytocin boost that we can get naturally. And then there's good old serotonin. And that's a big one. That's definitely a big one for women in these years. And again, I mentioned earlier that it can, as it's declining due to estrogen's decline, it can start to even affect our sleep. So it is important that we're doing the things that help to support serotonin production. I'm not going to talk about supplementation and things like that on this podcast that you can take, because I want these to be things that we all are doing, right? We're not giving away our responsibility to a bottle, if that makes sense. So, serotonin, rhythmic routines are really important for us. So, having a routine in our day, and maybe you are someone like me who you like your days to be a little bit different every day, but you need routine in your days. So, I definitely have routine. I'm an entrepreneur, I have my own business. Every day looks a little different. I might have a day that's fuller with coaching clients, and then a day that's more creative, and a day where I'm doing more behind the scenes business work. But having predictable routines that feel like rhythm and flow, really important for serotonin. Order in our environment. So if your environment's really cluttered and there's a lot of things that you're hanging on to that just even aren't your authentic, true to your authentic self, shed, get rid of them. You don't want that. Gratitude practice has been shown to boost serotonin. Walking every day, 30 minutes, is a boost for serotonin and dopamine too. These are all free, accessible tools. Remember that, that's free. And using them helps us to step into the season that we're being initiated into. Dr. Mindy touches on the grandmother hypothesis, and that's not, hers. That's not is not original to her, but she dives into some of the research on it. But I wanted to talk about that here and touch on that in this podcast episode, because when we are stepping into the season of initiation, and again, the biological wisdom that our bodies are inviting us into, we are becoming leaders. Evolutionary biology did not forget us women. It's not like, oh, your uterus isn't welcoming to life and a new baby. Pfft, you're useless. Absolutely not. These post reproductive years are wisdom years. This is the phase of life where we carry the wise old elder wisdom, the grandmother wisdom. We are biologically designed, and this is part of the grandmother hypothesis, to step out of the caretaking chaos. We're not meant to do it. We're not. A couple weeks ago, I took my youngest niece, she's 6, for little over 24 hours. We had a sleepover, and it was so fun, and I was so exhausted. I was like, oh my gosh, to my sister, how did you do that? How do you do that? Right. And I'm sure anyone listening who's a grandparent is like, I am not built to do that anymore. Right. Like, we want to be present and have fun and then give them back. And we're also very often in the sandwich too, where we still might be guiding our children, our young adult children. We might be grandparents, but we also have aging parents. So we're taking care of our aging parents. And gosh, if that's on your your stack of responsibilities right now, doing all of these other things is so important. I have walked so many clients through seasons of midlife that coincided with their parents getting sick, death of parents, caretaking for the remaining parent. And if they're not creating space for themselves and doing these things that we're talking about here, they are spiraling into a dark, dark place. So, really, really important. We are biologically designed in the season of life to see clearer. We can see clearer than our younger women. We can lead with confidence. We have an energy about us that embodies wisdom, that embodies the truth, that we get to impart on others. We get to hold hands and walk others through this season too. Or our younger women, we can pour into them. And they may not get it until they're in these biological years, but we certainly can bless them. And they need us. It's so important for us in this season to protect our energy. This is the season where women stop bleeding so that they can start seeing. And let me tell you, I'm again just at the brink of it. It is beautiful. I embrace where I am. I really, really do. And it's exciting. And I'm more motivated than I've ever been to take really good care of myself in all the ways. So when we're in this season, there are certain identities that cannot come with us. And we've talked about this on the podcast. There's so many episodes about different dynamics here, but I just really want to emphasize it to you, my friends. Our people-pleasing identity cannot come with us. It absolutely can't. It's like it just can't. And if you're struggling to drop it, look into why, unpack it. What's the false identity that you are living with that your nervous system is terrified to let go of? Get to know yourself. The work you do in this season is the hardest work you'll ever do, and it is the best, most fruitful work you'll ever do, and it will pay off in dividends for the rest of your life. The hustle culture, that hustle identity, the go, push, grind, absolutely cannot come with you. And if you're struggling to drop it, even though you're being called into it, your body is begging you to change, get help. Look for someone who can support you through it. Take a look at the patterning that you've lived into and the conditioning that you've lived into and what is in your subconscious mind that's having you live into, again, a false identity. It's so important. That nice girl identity, that good girl identity, that cannot come with us. It can't. It will get more and more painful if you try and live out these identities. The fixer identity, the rescuer. I was like all of these. All four of the things that I just shared here that absolutely can't. These are just the most common. I was all of them. I spent my perimenopausal years diving in and changing and working on it because they can't come with me. I avoided it for so long until it got so painful. As my hormones were declining, it was as if my body was screaming, "No, Jen, we love you too much to let you get away with taking any of this forward into those grandmother years where you are to be a wise elder who leads." Those identities, they require adrenaline. They require that we rely on external validation and they override our bodily truth. And midlife is removing the chemical support for our false selves on purpose. It's for us. It's for you. It's for you. This is why surrender feels so unavoidable. It's why you're listening to this podcast because you're craving it. It is a biological craving alongside of a soul craving. Your body will not let you lie anymore. This is what I do in my practice. The majority of the women that come to me at this season of life are coming because they can't do it anymore. And that hustle identity or that people pleasing identity, they don't know how to drop it. So they push and they keep going and their body breaks down. And let me tell you again, I used to run so many functional tests and I've simplified my practice because I don't need all of that today. Give me some blood work, an HTMA test, and let me just hear your life story. Let's look at what identities you're carrying around and let's get into the nitty gritty with that. And let me tell you, women start to heal and find freedom, but it is hard because it requires that we let go of the things that the ego is gripping onto. Some of the very best forums for me to learn about all the things that we carry around has been when I guide freedom journeys and we quiet the amygdala using a medication called MDMA and coaching. And I'm in with them for 5-6 hours and we're getting to it. And oh my gosh, the lightness that women feel afterwards. I had a woman I guided last week. She's in her 50s. She is exactly where we are talking about. It is getting too painful for her to carry around all of these false identities. And she messaged me the day after that she had never slept so well and so deeply as she did after her journey because she saw it, she let it up and out, and we started to bring on a new identity. We started to rewire and refire the nervous system. It's so important. Identity dissolution, it's imperative. If you're being called to it, it's for a reason and it is for you. Yes, it's hard and it is so freeing. It is where freedom is found. We are rebuilding from truth. We are not building from conditioning. As you can tell, I'm passionate. I'm really passionate about this. I want you to step into the freedom that's available for you. I want you to embody a life filled with love and joy and peace and happiness. You're doing it right alongside me. I'm determined to live the rest of my years so wise to all that I spent the first 50 years learning what doesn't work, what hurts me, what can't come with me. Plus, we had to live life, right? We needed to experience life to gain wisdom. But let's be women who are wise. Let's be women who live confident in what we know helps us to feel and function our very best. Let's be women who naturally support our neurotransmitters in ways that we never did before because we didn't have to. But these ways are actually pretty awesome and cool. You have full permission to go for more walks in nature and to take more time for warm baths and laughter and fun socializing and deep, meaningful conversations and creativity. You have permission for that. And if it's hard, again, I feel you. I get you. That's just the old identity trying so hard to hold on to your ankles and hold you back. And there's hope there too. That can be changed. That can be dissolved. That can be softened. So, my friends, a reminder to you, you're not broken. You are not wrong. You are not failing. You are not becoming less. You're actually expanding into more. You are in a season of initiation. My last final thought for you is this conversation is actually not about menopause, right? It's a conversation about truth becoming non negotiable. You are in that season. I'm cheering you on. If you need something to help boost you and just give you a little bit of calm, if you have not yet downloaded my Calm and Receive at Home Micro Retreat, the link for that is below. Every little step that we can take to bring more calm into our bodies, to receive that calm will help you in this season. I am opening in 2026 the Daily Surrender Circle, which will be a membership for my listeners of this podcast, where we will come together on live calls and have conversations and share our stories and laugh together and support one another. If you're interested in being on the waiting list so that you are one of the first to know, you will be my founding members. Get on the waiting list here just so that I can communicate with you directly. Until next time, my friend, continue the journey of surrendering. Thank you for joining me on the Daily Surrender. If today's episode spoke to you, I'd love to hear your reflections. Send me a message, share this with a friend, or leave a review. Remember, true healing and freedom come when we let go, surrender, and trust that God's way is so much better than our way. Until next time, my friends, keep surrendering, keep rising, and keep walking in peace.